I'm 2 minutes late because I went live on the wrong page. And I was all like, I think there's a day coming that I need to go down to one page and not keep creating content for 2 pages. Actually, more pages than that. And then I was trying to like find that I was on the wrong page, and I just totally cracked up my friends, Kate and Barbara probably, and Kyla. I am such a professional. I am I am a professional at this social media thing. Hi everybody. I'm Justine. It's still not effing popping up. This is also when I know that I have an idea and it ends up everything that should take like two steps takes like 12. I know that I am trying to be stopped. And it just makes me more effing determined. So whatever. Oh, okay. I think I found. Oh, gosh, that's not what I wanted. Okay. So, hi, everybody. I'm Justine Froelker. I am an author, speaker, corporate trainer, and certified Daring Way and Dare to Lead Facilitator. And I often, like I think a lot of you, get amazing ideas in the shower. F it. I'll share it after I pop off. And I was getting ready today. I was like, I actually kind of got my eyebrows right today. And I put on a bra, quite possibly the most unused item in most houses right now. And I have super dirty hair. Thank God you can't smell it because I spent some time outside and it just like sucks in the fresh air, but not in a good way. And so, because I had a webinar today and I was getting ready and I was like, I could do a pop-up workshop. And so here you go. There's a first for everything. We're all in a global health epidemic and stuck at home together and separate. And I decided to do a pop-up workshop of my favorite lesson of the curriculum that I am certified in. So I am certified under Brené Brown and I love this lesson. And so here we go. First off, we are all pretty much in suck right now. I mean, like there's probably moments that you feel like you are absolutely drowning in suck. There are moments that you feel like, okay, I can do this. I think I can swim. I can swim. I'm swimming to the other side. And I think for the most part, we just got to wade in it for, well, at least 30 more days. Maybe longer. And so we're in the suck. And I think like, a lot of us would think that all of us being in the suck together would help us lean in and choose the skill of empathy and to show up for one another in presence and love and connection and the skill of empathy. And I think in actuality, it might be the opposite. That since we're all in this suck, it might really be even more difficult for some of us to choose the skill of empathy. Because because I think since we're all in the suck, it'd be really easy for us to say like, well, at least you're not a nurse working on the front lines. Well, at least you don't have COVID yet. Or it might be really easy to say like, well, if you think that's bad, I have, 5 kids and my husband, like we don't have enough space around, whatever. Like you compare, you like one up. We go into the pain Olympics and you're like, if you think that's bad, mine is worse. And like the pain Olympics just doesn't work. And I'll talk about that here in a little while. And I think this is kind of what is, at least for me, what feels overwhelming. Like it is this like, well, like we're all in this. Like you don't have a right or permission to struggle or complain because we're all struggling. And yes, we are all in a collective suck. And it's fear and anxiety and frustration and anger and uncertainty. It's vulnerability. It's vulnerability. I also I kind of wish we'd start calling this what it is, which it's grief and trauma. Like this is really igniting of old grief stories that any of us have and creating grief stories now because you have lost a lot of stuff. We've all lost a lot of stuff. We've lost our safety, our freedoms. Some of us have lost our jobs. Some of us have lost our health. We've lost events. We've lost this year's birthday, like whatever it might be. Like, so it's grief and it's trauma. Like what we're going through is pretty traumatic. Now, the way trauma works, my brain might react really differently to how your brain reacts to this. Some of us, like these experiences, our brain, for lots and lots of different reasons that are beyond a Facebook Live, and you can talk to your therapist about, like that your brain might really react in a traumatic way, like, and lock some of this away, and you're going to be dealing with it for a long time. Others, we're still going to be dealing with it for a long time, but maybe our brain doesn't respond in a traumatic way. Okay, so there's that piece. But like I want to like really, really drive home that just because we're in this ocean of suck, drowning some days, doesn't mean that we can't lean into the skill set of empathy. And even more so, since we are separated by physical distance, 6 feet, if not way more, and all of our interactions are via a damn hole that I'm looking in my phone or my computer, except for Chad and the dogs. I mean, I love them. I miss people. I really miss people. I can still choose the skill of empathy. So, my favorite lesson. And after I log off of this and then freaking figure out how to share it on my personal page, I will put some links in the comments of some of my favorite empathy videos that will just really help some of you wrap your brain around empathy, okay? So, empathy. Teresa Wiseman is the researcher behind that. Empathy, the 5 attributes of empathy. The 5 attributes of empathy, perspective taking. I'm going to take your perspective. I'm going to choose, I mean, we could kind of say like walk a mile in your shoes-ish. Like I'm going to choose to imagine what it must be like to be going through your situation. And yes, we're in this like collective suck. And like Stephen Furtick did a beautiful sermon. I think it was actually 2 weeks ago already. He was like, we're all in this like stormy ocean, but we're all in our own boats. And some of us are in freaking kayaks that we can hardly keep afloat. And some of us are on yachts. Okay. Like, so that's what I mean. Like, I'm going to take your perspective of your suck. Okay. So perspective taking. I'm going to stay out of judgment, which I don't know about you, but right now it's super easy to jump into judgment. Like I want to throat punch some of you, and I'm going to admit it. Like I got a life to get back to, and I want you to stay home, and I want you to be respectful of the vulnerable. And so like it's really difficult to stay out of judgment. I will be the first one to admit that I'm struggling with that. Our brains are wired for simplicity. Our brains are wired to keep you comfortable. And so we judge. I judge. I'm going to say good guys, bad guys, safe, unsafe, good, bad, right, wrong. Like our brains are just wired for it. And so as someone who lives my life with courage, I am going to tap out and lean out of judgment and instead choose to lean into my vulnerability, even though it's really uncertain. And we're already in uncertainty, so that doesn't feel awesome, and yet it feels better than always living in judgment because I don't want to be the judge and jury. That is above my pay grade, and frankly, it's the last thing that we need through this thing. We need connection. And so when you are in judgment, you are not connecting. So I'm going to take your perspective. I'm going to actively stay out of judgment. And then the 2 pieces are huge, which not a lot of people realize that this is such a huge piece. It's recognizing emotion and then communicating that emotion. And so Brené's new research, we've been told, is leading towards emotional literacy. Like emotional intelligence is all over, which I love. I have a bunch of friends that are certified in that work. For me, like I want you to be smart about your emotions. I need you to first have the words to speak your emotions. And so right now the data shows that we can recognize about 40 emotions within ourselves and other people. This is required of vulnerability because guess what? Just like I said in my first TED Talk, there's way more emotions than the feelings chart that we were taught in elementary school or even the emojis. And there's way more kinds of emotions than happy, mad, sad, glad, disappointed. There's a lot of different versions of mad. And so I'm going to take your perspective. I'm going to actively stay out of judgment. I am going to recognize, that's step 3, visuals. I'm going to recognize the emotion that you are feeling. which means I better get my vocabulary, okay? And then I'm going to communicate that emotion back to you. So that's why you see us therapists asking people in our sessions, when I used to see clients, like, what I think I hear you saying is. That's why when you work with marriage counselors, or you're doing activities like a mirroring activity with your partner or spouse, like, we ask you to say, like, what I think I heard you say was, and then you paraphrase it back. I got to recognize the emotion that I think you're feeling, and then I need to communicate that back to you, because this does two things. One, that helps me to know that I'm actually on point. Like, man, it sounds like you're really sad. Yeah, I am really sad, like really, really sad. Or two, and probably most importantly for connection, what I think I hear you saying is that you're really sad. Nope, not sad at all. I'm pissed. It helps the person clarify for you and for them. Because oftentimes we just need a little bit of help to find our words, to ask for what we want and need from our loved ones, okay? So we got to recognize the emotion and then communicate that emotion back. And then the fifth component of the attributes of empathy, this is actually from, what is in my hair? It's distracting me, you guys. I think it's a petal. Told you I'm a real professional at this. All right, mindfulness, Kristin Neff. If you have not looked at Kristin Neff's work, it's incredible. Self-compassion, being kind to yourself, okay? One of the components of self-compassion is mindfulness, which is the last piece of the 5 attributes of empathy. I'm going to be mindful of the emotions that are coming up for me and the emotions that are coming up for you. I'm going to be mindful of the emotions in our space because I don't want to over-attach to them, over-identify with them, and have them write my entire story, because then I react from my emotions instead of respond to my life. So empathy defined, I'm going to take your perspective, I'm going to stay out of judgment, I'm going to recognize your emotion, I'm going to communicate what I think that emotion is back to you, and then I'm going to be mindful of all of those emotions. Now, when we're all in the suck, it's easy to be like, well, I don't need to show up for people. Like, I'm in the suck. How can I still show up for people? Like, because we need it. We're wired for connection. Socially distant or not, which we all need to be so we don't have to be full on out quarantined, we must be living in connection. You were wired for it. And so when you don't choose to lean in to vulnerability and choose empathy, you are actively choosing disconnection. And we need connection to get us through this season. And so there are lots of ways that we miss empathy. And we used to call them empathic failures, but we quickly changed that because, one, I love failing because it's the only time I ever learn crap. I don't learn any of my lessons from the hilltops. I learn them from the valleys, but we call them empathic misses now. Everybody misses things in empathy. I still miss them, and I am trained in this work. I'm also wired very deeply for empathy, and I still mess this up. I mess it up, so I still have to circle back. So some of the big empathic misses are the ones that I kind of already mentioned. So when you say things like, well, at least you have a paycheck still. I don't. Well, at least you don't have COVID. My grandma does. Whatever, at leasting, not empathy. Okay. If you think that's bad, competing for the Pain Olympics or who has it worse, that is not empathy. This just sucks. It sucks. It sucks. It sucks. Okay. And then this whole piece of it's bad for everyone. Just get over it. Not helpful. It is bad for everyone. It's bad. This is hard. And when we shame and judge people for struggle or how they're responding to it, that doesn't help us move through it together and get to the other side in a better place and more connected. And so whenever I teach the empathy lesson, I always teach my own story, because you'll never, ever be able to not think about it when you meet someone in struggle. And so for those of you who have followed me for a long time, or maybe you're new here, I am 40 years old. And so I often get asked the question that many women get asked: how many kids do you have? And I am an advocate, and I speak the unspoken. And I live my life out loud without apology. I am too much. I used to hate her, and now I love her. And I will no longer apologize for her. I will take up space because she is worthy. I am worthy. I don't want to talk in third person. That was weird. Sorry. So because I am an advocate, I always answer that question with the truth. We tried really hard to have kids. We can't. The money was gone. Our hearts were broken. We choose to parent in other ways, but we do not have children. I usually get 2 responses to that because my story is hard and makes people really uncomfortable. I usually get, oh, you poor thing. I just can't imagine. Or if it's someone from the South, oh, bless your heart. Or I get a simple fix or quick solution. Why don't you just adopt or do another round of infertility treatments? Now, both of these responses, they are not malicious. It took me a little while to realize that and to realize that that was my work, not someone else's work. They are not malicious responses. People don't say them because they're trying to be hurtful. They say them maybe because they're a little ignorant about how this whole thing works. Mostly they say them because they're really freaking uncomfortable with a difficult story. It is difficult to sit beside someone with their pain. We want to pity them, feel sorry for them, and we think that we are helping them feel seen by saying, oh, I just can't imagine. Or we offer a quick fix or simple solution. Why don't you just adopt? Now remember, both responses are never malicious. Both responses are because people struggle to lean into their own vulnerability because they don't want to feel the feelings. When you respond to someone's pain or struggle with quick fixes, with simple solutions, with a, oh, bless your heart, I feel so sorry for you, or even a whole like, whose butt do I need to kick? You leave them standing alone in their pain. And for me, I am a 40-year-old woman without children. I am almost always the only one everywhere I go. I am already alone. When you get so uncomfortable with your own emotions and vulnerability, and you then therefore choose to tap out and quick fix me or simple solution me or feel sorry for me or just like plow in to fix it, I'm more alone. And right now, during these times, in this universal collective suck that we are in, we already feel alone. Even if you are in a household full of children, or if you're in a household with dogs and a spouse like me, or maybe you're a single person and you are alone, we will do no one any favors by not showing up with presence, with very few words of, I know, this is brutal. This sucks. I don't know what to say. Thank you for telling me. You want to hop on a Zoom? You want to have a happy hour? You want to have coffee together this morning? Because right now, we have limitations of connection. We don't have limitations of presence. So, in this collective suck that we are in, lean in to your discomfort. Choose vulnerability and sit beside someone from afar with your presence and make sure they feel seen and loved. And if you need some of that from someone you love, ask for it. Very specifically use your words and ask for what you want and need. That is how we will get through this. So, that's what I got. I always cry on lives. Thank you for being here. I have so many resources right now out there because I am just stepping up to serve during this time because my my career has been semi put on pause. So I have a lunch break of courage every day at 11:15 on all the platforms. or if you want to search by topic, you can go to my website, and it's right there on the homepage, separate and together. But please share this if you think someone needs to hear this. That is honestly how people find me. And don't ever discount the power of sharing someone's work if it affected you and you think it could help somebody else. And then also for you parents, I do have 4 butterfly classes on my YouTube channel. If you need 40 minutes to breathe, cry, or have some quality time with them watching the weird, cool thing of butterflies and caterpillars. So thank you for being here. And I will answer your comments after I log off, because I don't know how long I've been blabbing at you. Probably over 20 minutes. And remember, according to Chad, anything over 3 is too long. Breathe, feel your feelings, use your words, be present, give yourself permission to respond to this in whatever feels okay for you and aligned with your truth. Stop comparing hards and losses and struggles. Let's turn toward and not away. See you later.